welcome to episode 55 of the West Aurora 129 podcast. I'm Dr. Michael Smith, Superintendent of West Aurora School District 129. Today, I'm joined by someone who I've been sitting next to for a little while this year, as he has been one of our student board representatives and my table mate at our Board of Education meetings. West Aurora High School senior Dexter McWilliams. Dexter, you've brought valuable student perspective to our conversations and helped strengthen the connection between the Board of Education and the students that you represent. So I appreciate you coming and welcome.
Thank you.
We do have a main topic, though, we want to spend some time with today, and that's the impact of our off and away cell phone policy at the high school. But I'm also looking forward to hearing about your time in District 129 and what's next for you as you look at graduating and life beyond the hallways of West Aurora High School, which we're not there yet. Come on, that senioritis is kicking in, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Dexter, to kick us off, what schools besides the high school did you attend in District 129?
So I attended Goodwin Elementary for the first 2 years of elementary school, and then I switched to Freeman Elementary.
Okay.
And then I attended the SCEP program at Jewell Middle School. And one of the teachers from Freeman Elementary, Mrs. Rowley, she was my third and fourth grade teacher.
Okay.
And I actually brought her to the Excellence in Education banquet.
Oh, that's awesome.
She always made a lasting impression on me. She always pushed me to do my best and was one of those first educators to truly challenge me.
And I can appreciate the fact that you reached back to your elementary days, because that truly is the foundation for where you are today. So I appreciate you highlighting her impact on your life. That's awesome. Do you have any experiences from elementary school that you remember, or middle school?
A lot of the times, middle school is sixth grade was when COVID hit.
Oh,
so
there's a memory, that we all like to forget.
Yep. So a lot of online school there, but I think when we got back, I was in seventh grade, and middle school was kind of the awkward phase, as it usually is, but it was nice being able to see all my friends again. Sure. And just that reconnection of not being in a voice call or not only talking to my friends on a gaming console. It was a good reconnection.
Yeah. Online's a substitute. It can't replace the real thing, right?
Exactly.
How about it? And I know you're just not a student, although you're highly capable and you've shown yourself to be a well-represented and well-rounded academic student within our schools. There are things that you do beyond just attend to your grades and your learning. You want to talk about some of the clubs and activities you've been involved in?
Yeah. So for 4 years, I've been on the varsity tennis team. I've been the captain for 2 of them. And I've also been involved in National Honor Society, as well as being the student representative. Those are the main clubs and activities. I think I did 1 year of football freshman year. I did 2 years of link leaders, and I've just done a lot around the school, maybe not always in clubs or officially organized, but things through the tennis team. That, like, the tennis team one time went out to pick up garbage around the school. We do that. We do a little service project once a year. Sure. So just tennis has been the main one, though. That has been my thing.
That's where you hang your hat, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, as a student board member, speaking of clubs and activities, you highlight all of the different things that are happening at the high school. Can you just talk a little bit about, for our listeners, all that is afforded our students at the high school? Yeah,
there is so much. I wish I could sit here and list everything, but there are so many athletic programs. There are so many volunteer programs, clubs for any sort of interest. If you have an interest and you have a teacher you trust, or you have someone who would sponsor it, they 100% will.
That's awesome.
And it's shown. There are well over 100 clubs and activities at West that any student can join, no matter what.
That's awesome.
So just representing those is such a great thing to do. It's honorable.
I think I remember, and I hope I don't quote her incorrectly, but Dr. Martina was at a board meeting and she did a presentation about clubs and activities, and she highlighted that over 50% of our students are involved in some kind of club or activity, which speaks to your point of how many things are out there. So if someone has an interest, and I like how you said that, even if you don't see it, if there are others who might have that interest, we can find a sponsor, and that might be a club that we can launch, or at least start down the road of launching. So that's great. It's not about just the academics. We want to make sure our students are connected, and that's something that you've been able to highlight in your experience. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's very fair to say. Yeah.
So let's center in on the high school.
All right.
You're looking back. You're weeks away from graduating. Is there a favorite memory, or are there memories that you've put in the bag of your high school experience?
I think participating in tennis has been such a big part of my high school experience. While I'm not going anywhere in athletics, it was more about the friends that I made and like the connections. I've played a lot of close matches, and I think in that time, that's where the trust in your teammates show. I know that if I'm in a close match, even if I'm just on the court by myself, all my teammates are behind me and they're all cheering me on.
That's awesome.
There was one time I had a match that I think it ended up being like an hour and 45 minutes long.
Wow.
And it's because I was winning and then I started losing, and then I came back at the very end. It took me a while, and it took everything I had. But all my teammates were there watching, and I ended up winning. It looked like I wasn't going to win. And when I ended up winning, all my teammates, they rushed the court, and
nice.
they were jumping on me and stuff. It was really fun.
That's cool.
So I think just those friendships, probably my favorite
100%. Well, the skills, strategies, experiences you learn being on a team, that's what we look for as you go into the workforce. How many of us would love to be able to say we operate on teams where we know those that we work with have our backs, similar to what you just talked about. So my hope for you is that, you find that space. Yeah. And speaking of the future, what are your plans after graduation?
So my plans after graduation, I am planning to study statistics at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. I actually just signed my commitment letter not too long ago. So I'm inked in to go to the University of Illinois.
Okay. And ideally, what does a career in statistics look like?
So I want to be it's called a quantitative psychologist.
Okay.
So that's a lot with working with different businesses based on their numbers and focusing on the psychology part of business. So mostly consumer-based kind of things. With these numbers, who are you going to reach the most? Who are you going to reach the best?
Sure.
And so that's the career I'm looking for.
So it's not just about counting the numbers. It's what do the numbers tell you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. See, I have to water it down for my understanding. So thank you for humoring me with that. And that speaks to where you think you could see yourself in 10 years, pretty much in that field.
Yeah, for sure.
Guiding us in all the decisions that we're making, you behind the scenes saying, I knew you were going to do that because the numbers told me so. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sure. Now, we can laugh about the future, but really, we would be remiss if we didn't take advantage of your current role as a student board member, specifically about the policy we talked about related to cell phones. As you can imagine, individuals had some opinions when we started down that road. But what we do know is cell phones, when introduced, are a distraction. There's been research that has showed that students' attention and willingness to lock in on their studies is directly impacted by the effects of a cell phone. I can only imagine for myself, even when that notification comes, I get a buzz or a ding. Every one, I acknowledge that it happens, and it's something that takes my focus potentially away from what I was doing. For us at the high school, we made the decision to do off and away. At the elementary and middle school, we said completely off, and we didn't want to see it for the entire day. But at the high school, we did make an accommodation because you all are older and more mature. So we asked for off and away during learning times. And I just am curious, to hear your impact, because for us, we did our due diligence. Some school districts have lockers that they put the phones in. Some school districts have pouches where they lock them away for a period. We didn't go all the way there. And I believe that was in concert with some of our conversation with our leadership council as we were preparing for this. So we just adopted the off and away. And even that was a little bit of a rub for our students. Can you just tell me a little bit about what your experience has been with the new cell phone policy and what you've heard from your classmates?
Yeah. So I'll start with my experience a bit. I think that it affected me a little bit. When I was a junior last year, teachers talked about it. They were like, hey, we're Like, this is something that's really happening. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it, but it turns out that learning is, without the distraction there, it is a lot easier. And my classes have all been so much more talkative and social without the phones.
Okay.
I would say both in positive and negative ways. There are times when, table mates might get too close and they start talking when the teacher is talking. And
Sure.
It gets to that point, but that's the same level of distraction that a phone would cause.
Sure.
They would be on their phones instead while the teacher is talking.
Well, and to your point, that's on us as educators to make sure we're leading the conversation appropriately, because we don't want the fact that students are talking as much as we're celebrating to become another layer of distraction. But that's on us in terms of how we're mapping our lessons and things like that, and taking away from that distraction. So I appreciate that honest feedback. And I like that you heard your initial reaction. I don't know if I can do this, but it seems to be working okay for you.
Yeah, it's working great. I've become a lot closer to people that I think I never would have been if the cell phone policy was not implemented.
Sure.
Because after group work, I would have just gone on my phone and not done anything for the rest of the period.
Okay.
Because I was done with all my work, and I know the people at my table would have done the exact same.
Sure.
So
now I can appreciate that you highlighted your teachers when you were a junior started mentioning that this was coming. That speaks to what we tried to do as a school district, which is be as intentional as possible as we explain this to our parents, to the students, to the staff even, about how we were going to do that, via our communications team here at the district office. We tried to send a blanket message out so everyone understood. But at the same time, we know sometimes messages get distorted or didn't land correctly. Did you feel that it was easy to understand, but was it a matter of we kind of had to get in and experience it to really understand?
I think the basis of the policy was very clear before the school year started, but the details and how it was going to turn out was all first day of school. We're going to see what happens.
Like, how is it going to be implemented? What does this look like?
Exactly. Okay. So I think most students understood what was going to happen.
Sure.
That there were going to be less, your cell phone was not going to be reachable. They didn't want it to be seen. Mm-hmm. Everyone knew the consequences and what would happen with the cell phone, but it was more the actions each teacher would take. There are a lot of different, I know the policy allows for kind of leeway within classrooms. Hey, every classroom has the pouches. Either the phones go in the pouch or they stay in your backpack. If I see them, I immediately put it in the pouch, or you go to the office. And it's both the teacher independence as well as the policy kind of adapting to each classroom. That was what we needed to figure out on the first day.
Well, and what you just shared is the intentionality with how we tried to approach this. I mean, we explained it to everyone. We opened the opportunity at the high school level to treat you all with a level of respect that we feel you've earned, which is understand the policy is have it off and away. If someone needs a little bit of help understanding that, we'll put it in the pouch, but still in the classroom. It's not until there are repeated mistakes or non-compliance where someone is referred to the office or there's other interventions. We did lean on our high schoolers to show the maturity that we believe that they have in order to see this work out. Do you see your classmates cooperating as well?
Yeah, I do. I think, there are always a couple exceptions here and there,
sure,
but overall I see my classmates mostly having their phone away. And I think there's kind of just like a situational awareness part of it.
Yeah.
Students kind of know when or when not. There are a lot of times where the teacher will say, hey, you kind of need your phone for this. You can take a picture of this slide for later.
Sure.
And it's all just about understanding the situation.
Yeah.
While having it off and away majority of the time.
Yeah, 100%.
During learning time and when we are supposed to be focused on one goal, the phone needs to be off and away. But if not, the teacher kind of shows that it's more of a situational awareness.
I'm glad you said that about the teacher, because we did hear from staff as some utilize the cell phone as part of their instruction as a tool. So, but it's well defined. And that's what we asked of them. If it's not a tool that you're actively using, then yes, compliance with the policy is what we would look for. Case in point to what you were just highlighting. You talked about how it's changed the classroom environment in a positive way. But can I ask, if you were king for the day, Let me hand over the responsibility of superintendent, which means if any emails come complaining, you got to answer them. Okay. But if you could adjust just one thing with the policy, not to say that we're going to overhaul or just through your experience now after a year, is there a recommendation that you have, or do you think we're doing all right?
I think the policy is doing pretty well. I think what you were just talking about how a lot of teachers use it as a learning tool and how it needs to be well defined. I think encouraging more teachers to use it as a learning tool, because I do think that the high schoolers have a level of maturity to be able to use it as a learning tool and not defy their teacher and use it for something else.
Sure.
And so I think encouraging a role as a learning tool, the cell phone as a learning tool, instead of just highlighting it as a distraction, because every high schooler thinks, well, the administration just thinks my phone's a distraction. That's all they think of it. But in reality, many people see it as a learning tool that could be used, but there are so many risks of distraction that we'd rather not try that out right now while we're implementing the policy.
Sure.
So that's kind of the student view of it.
Sure.
And I think advertising that's not all the administration thinks, that's not what all the teachers think, would be beneficial for students.
Okay. That's good feedback. And guilty as charged. Us educators, we err on the side of caution as we're looking to make sure we're caring for the students in our charge. But your perspective is absolutely valid. What are those opportunities where this device can be utilized in a productive way? Well, when it's not, when can we then honor the policy and what we're trying to accomplish with limiting or removing distractions from your learning, and taking advantage of all those opportunities that we talked about earlier in our conversation, right? I think it's pretty classic. I was talking to Mr. Eschman, he had shared in his role, he checks in with students, and there was one student he checked in with, and without asking, the student was like, I have to be honest, I'm doing better with this in my classes because of the cell phone policy. And he appropriately said, that's great to hear. It was almost through gritted teeth that the student admitted that this is actually helping me. So thank you. And we'll take that. But we know not everyone was excited to hear their pushback, or not pushback, but questions around safety and security. And that's why we really work hard to share what our protocols are. Families worry about, okay, in an event, my focus is my child. Believe me, everyone understands that. Like if I was talking to your parents, I'd say the same thing. And we're so used to just call. Well, there are so many protocols that we have in place to make sure our students are cared for, to where actually, if all of our parents called their students, that would get in the way of our ability to keep everyone safe, believe it or not. But we know it's there, and we will process appropriately, and continue to get better, and improve upon what we're doing. And it's via feedback from people like yourself that we're able to do that. So thank you. So overall, if you were representing the students, not to put you on the spot, the question is it helping?
Yes, I do believe it's helping. And I think representing the students, it is helping. There are a lot of times that students, I went around this past week and I asked students about the phone policy personally, and they seemed a little angry, and they were like, no, it's not helping. And I went, but how have you performed this school year compared to last year? And they're like, well, I get more work done in class now, so I have less homework. And I went, okay, and why? And well, because I'm not on my cell phone. Like, all right, so is it helping or not? I guess it's helping. So I think it's helping in ways where students aren't realizing it right away.
Sure.
But as soon as they sit back and really think about it, it's helping them in the back of their mind for sure.
Sure. No, and I so appreciate the reflective questions that you just modeled right there as you talk to students. Because that initial response is, no, it's not helping. Well, okay, tell me more. What's been your experience? And actually, when I think about this, I am noticing I'm able to have more time because I'm not lost scrolling. And believe me, us adults, we get caught doing the same thing. So you all are modeling what we need, the lessons we need to learn as well, too, right? Dexter, thank you. Thank you for coming and taking some time to talk with me and just to share your perspective. I know you and your counterpart, Natalie Guerrero, do a phenomenal job. I've had many conversations with her as she's talked about the very same type of conversations with students that you just highlighted, based on the spheres that she runs in or the circles she runs in. You both do an amazing job representing the students as student board members. And I'm really appreciative of all that the two of you do and the voice that you give to the board table for our Board of Education. Thank you for making a positive impact on West Aurora. And remember, we still have a few more weeks, so let's stay the course.
Yep.
Don't let that senioritis take over too much.
Yep.
And again, we will see you next time we have a chance to catch up. So thank you, Dexter.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for listening. And don't forget, you can follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.